we're always trying to keep an eye out for what are the new emerging trends in technology, what are the kids doing, what do we need to be doing, and how do we bring people into our site to essentially engage them in gay men's health. So Wayne went over this slide earlier. I'm not going to spend too much time on it other than just saying that it's important to remember, I guess I'm standing in the way, sorry. It's important to remember that we have 3 areas of concern, so that's health promotion, building beneficial relationships, and community engagement. And our programs are varied and they span 4 areas of health, so physical, social, sexual, and mental health. So why do we go online at all? Well, that's where the gays are, and a lot of them. Gay guys were early pioneers in social marketing and online dating. Like HSBC, we saw the potential before anyone else. Some of you may remember the ICQ program, which was a very modern chat program, sorry, not modern, very outdated actually, but it was one of the first. And a lot of gay guys use that for networking and for dating. We've come a long way since then, but the internet and gay men have remained very good friends. So very popular sites, Craigslist, Manhunt, Squirt, Dudes Nude, we saw that in our community consultation. Some interesting stats, 50% of guys found their last partner online, 40% go to the internet for health information. So these are really large numbers, and we know that they're growing constantly. As younger gay guys are entering the sexual marketplace, they're spending a lot more time online and they're using the internet for that. So what's our online strategy? Well, we have programs and services like our clinic, and they of course require promotion. We also have a growing pool of knowledge from recent studies that we're involved in, and from gay guys themselves, because we do a lot of questionnaires and a lot of interviewing of our participants. So sometimes we use a poster or postcards or print ads to get the work out, but we always have an online component, no matter what the information or the campaign or the service. We recognize the importance of that in gay guys' lives. So Check Him Out is our main website, and that's our portal or our hub where all of our information goes. And it remains relatively static in design, but then we have these 3 components at the bottom, which I call like external or activators, and that's how we bring people into the site. Believe it or not, people don't wake up in the morning and say, let's go check out Him's website, but they do check out their Facebook or their Twitter, and if they see an interesting link about a group or a service or some new health information, they'll click on that and bring them into the site. We're in the process, oh no, actually, sorry, skip here. So this is checkhimout.ca. This is our main site. It's a bit outdated now. It was developed about 3 years ago, and we're currently in the process of redeveloping that. We just put out a request for proposals, and we're waiting for some agencies to respond. It's visited by 3,000 to 4,000 people per month. The site hosts all of our info, programs, services, and again, it's organized around the 4 areas of health, which you see here. So if you click on either of these, you'll get an entire section on social health, where it'll include the groups that we offer, the services we offer, and then also a bunch of important information that people can use. As I said, we're in the process of rebuilding our site, and a major component of that is our Community Champions Committee. So I've mentioned this before, we have a number of them. Each project has a Community Champions Committee, and it's our fancy title for Advisory Committee. And these are guys that we recruit from the neighborhood, from the gayborhood, from our own personal networks. And for each project, we bring in different champions depending on the project. So in a website redevelopment, we brought in the best social marketers. We brought in the guys who have the most trendy blogs that everyone's going to. We brought in people from a website called Homosexuelles, which is very popular in Vancouver. We brought in some party promoters who really know how to get the word out. And we said, what can we do to harness new technologies and bring gay men into checkhimout.ca? So, of course, a major component of that is our campaigns. And we use campaigns to draw attention to certain important issues or new programs. Campaigns are executed with the help of, again, the Community Champions Committee. And they're often multifaceted. So, again, we don't think that you can just print a poster and everyone's going to see it. Perhaps earlier, in the epidemic, in the HIV epidemic, you could put a poster up in a gay bar and be pretty certain that a lot of gay men would see it. We know now fewer gay men are going out to the village, fewer young gay guys are accessing gay bars, so how do we reach them? Well, the internet is proving to be a great tool for that. So when we develop a campaign, we will have the traditional urinal ads that will go up in washrooms, but we also have to ensure that there are banner ads on dating sites, such as Manhunt and Squirt. The Do the Math, Calculate Your Risk campaign was the first campaign that I worked on and one of Him's first campaigns, and it was intended to promote condoms among gay men. by talking about harm reduction in a more general way. So it wasn't just a condom campaign, it was about not all sex has the same risk. Sometimes you need to use condoms, other times you don't. And this was, you know, it's kind of like revolutionary for a public health agency to be, or organization to be talking about those things, because a lot of people want to hear us say condoms all the time, every time. And we know that that's not really, well, we know it's not what's going on. So we want to meet gay guys where they're at. So the campaign sought to get guys thinking about their personal level of risk and then give them tools to reduce that. This was our first exploration into infographics, which if anyone spends any time online, you'll know that they're becoming really popular, and of course they're a great way to get information across. So this was one of our infographics where if you scrolled over particular sections, it would, the risk level would go up and tell you which activities were associated with which levels of risk. This was an online calculator, so again, we're trying to build tools. Rather than just putting information on a page and expecting gay guys to read it, we're trying to build knowledge translation tools to engage them. So while this is a pretty primitive calculator, because it only has 4 questions, which are what kind of sex are you having, what's your status, what's your partner's status, and our condom views, it's missing things like viral load and acute HIV, but that's very difficult to put in a simple tool. So the calculator relied on the website, which had tons of information off to the side, to give you more nuanced information about viral load or acute HIV. This calculator was actually visited by 100,000 people since we've launched it, so we're really quite happy with the tool. And recently, an organization in Australia put out a Know the Risk campaign, and it's very similar to ours, so we think that you know, it's a big compliment to us. We were very happy about it. They fine-tuned it a little bit more, but we were quite happy about that. So HIM doesn't just create things and put them out there and then expect people to uptake. We want to evaluate, and we want to make sure that we're doing things right, or if we're not, so that we can better it and make sure that the next time we put out a campaign it will be that much better. So this was an evaluation that we asked the Community-Based Research Centre to do in Vancouver. They're partners of ours. And over 900 guys filled out the survey either online or in person. And of those 900 guys, almost 50% recalled our campaign. And of those 50%, 30% visited the website, 30% talked to their friends about it, over 80% thought about their own risk, and almost 60% learned new HIV risk reduction ideas. So overall, a very successful campaign for HIM. The next campaign I want to talk about is Hottest at the Start. And the reason I bring this campaign up is because we we shot a PSA to go along with the campaign. So the campaign was about acute HIV and how it's hottest at the start, as in you have a higher viral load and therefore you're more infectious in the beginning. So we wanted to get that message out. It's complicated, but we enlisted the help of an ad agency. We came up with some language, we focus group tested it, and the response was very well. We're actually waiting for the evaluation to come in on this now, but colloquially, anecdotally, we're hearing very good things about hottest at the start. The reason I wanted to talk about it today, though, is because we built a public service announcement. It was a 30-second video, and again, this was our attempt trying to harness, what are the kids doing? Well, they're all on YouTube and they're watching videos. They're watching porn on XTube. So how do we compete with that? Well, we'll create a really sexy video and we'll put it out there. So the Hottest at the Start video actually had 28,000 hits, and that was despite the fact that people had to sign into YouTube to access it. Our video is not a video that you can just watch naturally because it is kind of graphic. So people took the time to sign in just to watch our video. So again, something we're kind of proud of. We also put it up on porn sites like XTube and GayTube so that guys could watch it as user-generated content. And it aired at the Queer Film Festival in Vancouver as well. When PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, was introduced as a new tool for gay men, HIM put together a booklet and an online resource, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this slide other than just to really underscore that we don't put out a resource without an online component. So we put out this great booklet that gave lots of information about PEP, and then we created the website that had a downloadable form, so if you wanted to, you could go online, print off the form and take it to your doctor, because one of the things we found from doing research was that a lot of doctors didn't know that PEP could be used for gay men who were exposed to HIV. So you can download this form. It gives really specific information that we had run by the BC Centre for Excellence to get some sign-off on, and it's so that doctors have a better understanding of this intervention. This is, I put this up here because it's one of our more recent campaigns, and Wayne actually has a few pamphlets there he's going to distribute. Again, we built a pamphlet, but we also built a website. This website, we were approached, because we got quite good at doing campaigns over the last couple of years, we were approached by Vancouver Pride Society and Pfizer. and they had a deal with the Pride Society that if they wanted to sponsor Pride, they had to do some harm reduction around erectile dysfunction drugs. So they came to us and they said, will you guys put together a mini campaign for gay guys? So this was the result of our mini campaign. Love the poodles or hate the poodles. We quite like them, but there's also the website, which is checkemout.ed, that you can read more information about erectile dysfunction drugs. This is checkemout.ca/testing, and I put this in the presentation because there are a number of tools, online tools, that are all housed under this one site. As you can see here to the right, there's a quiz. It's called Find Your Number. So this is a quiz that you go through, and it will tell you whether or not you should be testing for HIV every 3 months or 12 months. And as you can imagine, that's based on certain risk factors, your relationship status, whether or not you're using condoms. And then once it tells you your number, it'll say you're a 3 or you're a 12. Or if you've identified that you've done something risky recently, it will say go right away. And then once you get your result down here, it pops up and it says you're a 3, you're a 12, or go right away. Then you can scroll down. You can choose whether or not you're a 3 or a 12, and then you can choose whether or not you want an email or a text message reminder. So again, this is all under one site. The service also, other tools. Scroll to the next page. You can see this is a geolocator, so if you plug in your postal code, this is connected to the BC Centre for Disease Control's database on testing clinics, so it'll find you a clinic nearest you anywhere in British Columbia. One of the features of the testing site was the reminder service that I just mentioned. And currently we have 330 guys who are enrolled in reminders, and most of them are 3-month testers, so they're having a lot of sex, potentially risky sex, which means they're exactly the demographic we want signing up for a reminder service. Most of them want reminders by email. I think it's something like 82% opted for email over text messaging reminders. So just information that we collect along the way so that we can, in the future, better our services. Of those guys, more than half of them signed up in a 2-week period. So I bring this up because it really drives home the importance of taking tools and services to dating sites. During that 2-week period, when I did the stats, I pulled it up and I said, what happened during that 2 weeks that we had all of these signups? And it was the 2-week period that we had launched e-blasts through both Manhunt and Squirt. So they're expensive to do. E-blasts are relatively expensive when you think about the cost of printing a poster, but really the impact is there. Guys actually do click through, they're interested in it, they're already on the medium. It's not like seeing a poster and then going, okay, I have to go home and check the website. You're actually there, and it's a great time to engage guys. Currently, this site is being promoted by YouthCo. They do a lot of outreach in Vancouver, and our own outreach volunteers. So what we did is we bought them some iPads, again, trying to think of technology that will get people involved. And you would be amazed at how many gay guys want to play with iPads when they're out at the bar. So we have outreach volunteers who go out with the iPads, and they're walking around the crowds, and they're talking to guys, and oh, do you know, are you a 3-month tester, a 12-month tester? Do the quiz, find out, signed up for reminders, and we've had a really positive response about that too. Social media. So what do we use social media for? Largely, our social media at the Health Initiative for Men is centered around Facebook and Twitter. Those are our 2 accounts. We have 700 more followers on Twitter and almost 1,000 on Facebook. When we asked our Community Champions Committee how they found themselves at our website, that was the first question. We said, well, when do you come to check them out, and how do you get there? Many of them said, well, I saw a post on Facebook or on Twitter, and that's what brought me in. Social media are incredibly powerful tools for promotion, but they have to be managed appropriately by people who understand the medium, and that's something we've really noticed between successful organizations who can really engage in social media and those who are less so. And so, I don't touch the tools. I leave it to one of our younger employees who has a lot of experience with Twitter and Facebook, and he really gets those tools. Again, we use them for bringing people into checkemout.ca and our services in general. A more recent addition to the Health Initiative for Men is the Hustle at Him program. Started off with the intention of providing support to sex workers. We're now looking at expanding online outreach to all kinds of men who have sex with men. So this is our active net reach program. So there are banners and posters and e-blasts, but with this particular program we put guys, 2 employees, who come in for 3-hour shifts on the weekend, and they visit a number of either dating sites, sex sites, social media sites, and they're engaging youth, sex workers, and also men at risk. And not since the Gamma Project, which was a crystal meth outreach project in Vancouver, have we seen this type of outreach going on. So it's something that we're really excited about, and looking forward to expanding that. In the last 3 months, they had 124 online contacts, so 124 conversations. And what are they talking about? Well, I'm not going to go through the list, but everything from our services and referrals to bullying, homophobia, self-harm, addictions, legal advice, you name it, guys are asking about it through our online outreach project. And the last one I want to talk to you about is a multimedia campaign called Vic Vancouver. I'm not sure if anyone's had the opportunity to see a Vic Vancouver video, but when HIM was first founded in 2007, 2008, we needed some programs to hit the ground running so we could introduce ourselves to the community. And our ED at the time funded us to do this multimedia project. So research was showing we had less engaged young guys. How do we get to the young guys? We're going to use technology. So we created a weekly animated soap, and it was about 3 to 5 minutes long each week. It aired on Sunday afternoons. We had 1,000 weekly visitors who would come every Sunday just to check out our video, and I think when the 3 seasons wrapped up at Vic Vancouver, we had over 600,000 hits. Vic Vancouver dealt with everything from coming out to addiction to escorting to the first positive character came out on the animated soap. What was interesting about Vic was we didn't just create the videos, we also created an online profile for Vic. So he had friends who he would be chatting with and talking about where he was going on the weekend or what he was up to. The video not the video, we would also do real life crossovers. So if a character died in the show, for instance, one was hit by a bus. So we drew a chalk line in the middle of Davie Street and set up sort of like a memorial service for this character who had died, and then we took out an obit in Extra West, and so there were many crossovers. So if you were reading Extra West, you'd hear about Vic, or if you were online or whatever. It was a lot of fun to do this project. So what was interesting is 25% of the fans are actually under 19, so we were also getting a very large demographic of younger viewers. Now I know that Wayne mentioned that our content is 18 plus. At the time, that policy wasn't in place at the Health Initiative for Men, so we were it was more of a shotgun approach. Now we would have to refine that and restrict our users just because of the content that's on our site. But at the time, we had a significant amount of fans who were under 19. And then I just put up a couple of posters to show you how we were promoting it, cross-promoting it within the community. And we would also hold premieres and wrap parties. So 2 parties per season, where we would invite all of Vic's fans in. Vic would send them private messages online saying, come out to my party. We would drink champagne and eat cake, because one of the characters' favorite meal was champagne and cake. And we would do a number of sort of fun crossovers to get people involved. And that is the conclusion of my project. Thanks.
Thank you.